Right, it says I'm live. Hey guys, welcome to the live stream. Adjust that a little bit. Just gonna find my PowerPoint presentation. Garth Tander. How good was Garth Tander? That's what it's called. Alright. Still not feeling a whole lot better. If any of you watched the last one, Bathurst, I wasn't feeling too great, and I've just got like a dry cough at the moment. Generally feeling better, but still just a bit rough. So it looks like I've done all of. I'll show you. So see, like through most of his start in 1998, Garth Tander, Bugs was out qualifying him all the time, but GT was actually pretty impressive. He didn't quite get quite up to speed. He wasn't crashing too much. He was doing all right. And then Perth, he just started smashing out some top tens, and same as Calder Park. So he kind of became really good. And then 25th up to 8th at Darwin. So he was really impressive. And then at Oran Park, he actually out-qualified Bargs. And then from 98, he's like the main guy. He's just out-qualifying Bargs all the time. But Bargs was also like not really close enough on quite a few occasions. So, yeah. So we're going to go through 2000. I'm going to get my racing reference. Oh, I didn't show the thing. Hang on. Sorry, I'm stupid. My brain does not want to fire at the moment. Probably really doesn't want to do a live stream at the moment. Alright, so hang on, what we'll do is we'll go through. Alright, I'll do this. We'll do this. Alright, now I'm gonna go through 2000. Find the first race of 2000 and start writing things down. Probably won't be able to show everything, will I? I don't see anything too scary. Just yeah, so I could probably I'll show the monitor, because then it's just like, it'll be way easier. You'll be able to see everything that's going on. Total mess. So we've got it's a bit of a weird thing. Alright, so yeah, Garth second, Bargs. Alright, he started 9th, but he dropped to 31st. Something happened. I don't know what happened. 2000 Phillip Island, he probably span off or something. He's dropped a few laps, had some sort of issue. So go to, how do I do this again? So it's Phillip Island. Second stage, second. I sort of had this theory, like, oh, Garth wasn't that good, but as in he wasn't that good in 2000. But I think he was. I think the cars weren't quite that good, but maybe he was still driving and doing a great job. Like, when they could do it, they were on. 9th dropped to 31st for Bargs. Not a great way to start your weekend, Jason. Right, so this is going to be really difficult to be able to look at the chat as well. So I guess I'm just going to do my thing for a bit, and then I'll check in another little bit. Unless I have it like, if I put this like there, like that kind of works. Okay. All right. So 30th to 21st. That's still not good, Bugs. What are you doing? So what was it? 30th to 21st. It's just not good enough. Like, you should be doing better. If your teammates running up the front and you've got pace for 9th, you should be coming 9th. You know, we don't expect the world. We just expect you to be racing where you qualified. I was watching the first 20-25 laps of Bathurst this year. this year's Bathurst, and I was looking at Frosty in the in Cam Waters' car, and I was like, I wonder why he's not going as fast as Brody Kostecki. And I thought, well, Cam put it in like ninth, in was it ninth in qualifying, something like that, ninth or seventh, whatever it was. So that's where the car should be. In the shootout, they just sort of nailed. He just nailed it, but the car was pretty much a back of the 10 car. Um, yeah, there's a lot going on with that race. All right, so I think it's a 2-race thing. So Garth and Bugs in Perth. Garth third again. Bugs finally pulls his finger out. Very nice. All right. Bath. Stayed third. Stayed fifth. Very nice. All right. So third down to fourth, fifth down to seventh. Sort of interesting, some of these races. Like both cars just don't seem to have the speed in the second race. Was it 2 races? Yeah, it's 3 races. You can tell 20 laps is not. 20 laps is a sprint race. Fourth up to second for Garth, and Bugs nowhere. Seventh down to 28th. Alright, we gotta put a new one in. I've been watching some movies lately. Last night I watched The Substitute 2, and then I watched a movie called Jungle with Daniel Radcliffe in it because it's free on YouTube, because my binge has run out. So now, and I didn't want to renew it because I wasn't getting it for free, and I had a big gas bill come through, and I was like, all right, you know what? We're just not going to be spending more money. We're going to do it the tight ass way. It's fine. Sometimes you're rich, sometimes you're not rich. So Jungle was actually kind of good. It's an interesting movie because he gets lost in the jungles of the Amazon in South America. And so you're just like, I wasn't sure about the accents. I was like, are these all British people or like Americans? Or are they actually like what they say they are? Because we know Daniel Radcliffe is British and he's putting on like a German accent or something. Or wasn't it? Is that an Israeli accent? And so that's really weird. And so you're like, oh, this is going to be a different. Like, is he actually going to nail it? Because it's kind of, you put a lot of pressure on a big name actor like that to actually pull it off. And it was okay. I was like, I don't really know what an Israeli person sounds like anyway. What do I care? But yeah, it wasn't too bad a movie. Interesting movie. Lots of like drug references. Anyway, that's my diversion. So was it 28th? Was it actually 28th? Yep. 7th drop to 28th. Come on, Bags. Garth, first down to third. So actually started on pole. Is that Garth's first pole? I reckon it is. So first down to third and then 8th up to 7th for Bugs. How good is that? Alright. 8th up to 7th. At least Bugs is qualifying in the top 10. And then what? 3rd up to 2nd, 7th up to 3rd. Go Bugs. Pretty good result there. And yeah, Eclipse 500's a big long race, so it's just 2 races. Eastern Creek. It's just like, you got Garth who's battling for the championship, and then Bugs are just way down the order. steering arm. What that means is he crashed into someone and got steering damage. He started 12th, so it's not like it was helping. Was that Eastern Creek? Yep. I don't know how Gary Rogers saw more in Bugs than he saw in Wing Cup. His bro, okay. Wing Cup was not that good in his rookie season. He was pretty bad. Like Wing Cup was at Dumbrell level. Talent ID is shocking. He was ass at the start, but yeah, because I'm thinking like Perth 2003. Dumbrell went off, Wing Cup went off. Didn't even give him a chance. He gave him an entire year to show some promise. And what was it? The obviously got progressive grids. Larry Perkins started crashing out on him, said his ass. But he signed him anyway, right? Because he put the car in the sand at when they were testing. I think at Sandown or Winton or something. 1 year isn't enough for a rookie. I think in 1 year you should be able to demonstrate potential, and if you can't demonstrate potential, then you're not doing a good enough job. You gotta show that you can put a fast lap in at some stage, and you gotta show that you can be competitive in a race, pick up a few spots. No, I don't think this is top tier in motorsport. You've got to be able to perform at the level that they expect you to be performing at. Declan Fraser, you can tell he's a good driver. Declan Fraser didn't really crash much, so that was good, right? He wasn't like screwing up badly. He was just driving the fourth car at Tickford, and that can be a really difficult position to be in. It's kind of hard to tell these days because Declan Fraser is in Heimgartner's car, and so you just assume that he's kind of driving where the car should be. GRM cars in the era that Wing Cup was driving was ass. Yes, it was. Even Tander wasn't cooking. Yeah, well, we might see. I don't know if you've got information on like 2002 and stuff, but I think Tander was doing okay from the races that I saw. They weren't impressive. They were mid pack, and they weren't doing an amazing job. They gave Wing Cup the older car. Yeah, well, obviously you're going to give the rookie the older car. That wasn't, and this is back when that's what people did, especially teams like Perkins and Gary Rogers, the budget teams that didn't have lots of money, even though they've got like full year sponsorship. That's just the way it was back then. It's like you get the VX and you get the VY. And I think they'd build an entirely new car as well. Like I don't think like Greg Murphy won a race in the VX Kmart Commodore at Perth 2003. So your point is didn't give him the good equipment and wanted to perform. Yeah, it's not like a fair expectation. But maybe you don't expect him to beat his teammate. You just you expect him to qualify because like it's not like the car would go from 2002 VXs, everyone's got VXs, to 2003 anybody in a VX is qualifying down the back. So they'd probably be looking at year on year where they would expect it. Half decent equipment, top 10 at Bathurst. With Perkins, yeah. I think they had brake issues as well. And if you watch, I think I watched it on KO, which I think was a cut up version, but you don't even see him until like the end of the race. It's not like you're watching him pass people. They just sort of like, oh, they're in the top 10. How'd they do that? And they were like hit. This is the scrap card. This is like Alex Davison and Jamie Whincup. And then they put like Longhurst with Dumbrell, and then Richo with Larry. Was it Richo? No, Jim Richards with Larry, with Stevie Richards. Larry did not compete in 04. 03 Whincup said he couldn't see over the steering wheel because Tander was being so greedy with seat position. Yeah. But what happened but I think the argument there is that like Bargs and Garth won Bathurst, and Bargs is like obviously shorter than, well, Garth's a very tall man, and Bargs is a relatively short man. So I think Whincup's actually a little bit taller than Bargs. A lot more experienced driver than Whincup. Yeah, true. Obviously it was Whincup's first year in the main game. It was his second time going to Bathurst as well. When he was the main driver in 03. Whereas by the time, like, it was like Bargs' fourth time when he won Bathurst, 97, 98, 99, 2000. So yeah, but I think you've got to be able to demonstrate some sort of ability behind the wheel. And different teams have different situations as well. Barks' rookie year, he junked it in the warm-up. Yeah, in the Young Lions car in 97. But they topped it in qualifying, and he crashed it. Was it the warm-up, or did he crash it in practice before the shootout? Hang on. I'm gonna look it up. Jason Bargwana, 1997, Bathurst. The warm-up, so just before the race, apparently. Yeah. Oh, this will be good. This is someone showing the screen. They were all young back then. Put it fifth in the shootout. Bugs full head of hair, yeah, it's it, eh? That car just explodes. I'm gonna face the mechanics after that. Oh yeah, got it. They're the ones that are gonna fix it. It's not his fault. The wall jumped out in front of him. Love that. Yeah, the bosses wouldn't be happy. That Larko interview is actually pretty good. I didn't mind listening to that. Obviously, he's in a bit of drama now because of his comments at Bathurst last week with Brody Kostecki. But yeah, I thought it was a good video. Good interview. I didn't know who the interviewer was. He said Tander is one of the not just the Bathurst greats, but he should have won more championships, and that's what I'm trying to look at. Kostecki schooled him badly. It's such a. I don't think he's a Bathurst great. That Garth isn't a Bathurst great. He's won it 4 times. You'd say Greg Murphy's a Bathurst great, but the rest of the time not a great. 6 times. But so like you gotta be a great if you're a 6-time winner. Three of them he was a passenger. So you don't count it. Okay. Yeah, I suppose so. Like full time, not so much. So 2000, 2009, 2011, that's when he was good, which even 3 times is pretty impressive. And he put it on pole in 08 as well. Yeah, not the same as Lowndes. Yeah, well, Lowndes he's only won Bathurst as a full timer, not as a co-driver. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. It's yeah. I think that's fine. But even like so, that means you wouldn't count Stephen Richards, or you wouldn't count Jim Richards either. Whincup wants to screw it up every time. Yeah. Yeah. Being Whincup's co-driver is a bit of a curse. Stephen Richards not at all. Yeah. Like obviously Stephen Richards won 5 times, but he only won 1 as a full timer. The rest of the time was as co-driver. Jim can't say because you don't know his wins. As in, like, what happened to result in the wins? Is that what you mean? Because he won, was it 78 to 80 with Peter Brock, and then he won 91 and 92 with Scaife. Only aware of 2 of his wins. Yeah. Yeah. So Jimmy Richard and 2002. Yeah. So Richo's a 6-time winner. 3 of them with Peter Brock as a co-driver, and 2 of them as a main driver with Scaife in 91, 92 in the Nissans. And then 2002 with Scaife as a co-driver at HRT. So, with your approach, did you get one stripped? No, well, 1992 was the red flagged one. It was controversial. In the BMW. No, you might be thinking of, was it 87, the Sierras? Because no, I don't know what he was doing. What Jim Richards was doing in 87. He was in BMW, but I don't think he was on for the win. I think maybe something else happened. He wasn't. I don't think he was in the running, and also the BMWs were not that good at Bathurst as well. 87, it was definitely the Sierras. Win other race? What other race? Super Tour 1. Oh yeah, I don't count those. It's a different category, so I don't count it. I suppose if you wanted to count it as like a talent thing, to be like, oh, they're just that good at Bathurst, they show up all the time and they just win there. But yeah, I don't count Super Tour Bathurst as like the one that as one that counts. I'm talking Bathurst 1000. Where else are we looking? Eastern Creek, that's right. Thursday 3rd and 12th to 37th or 12th. steering arm. Right. Yeah, so with that approach to be like, it has to be in your full-time career, Greg Murphy is definitely exceptional because he used to show up at Bathurst and be in the shootout most of the time. And then he would also be on for like a top 10 result. It would usually be his best result every time, every year. He would go there, he'd be having a shit year, and he'd go there and he'd be in the mix for the win or and finish top 10 or something. So not exactly for it to be full time. Okay, so you don't have to be full time, but because then like all the guys who are co-drivers, yeah, but you're sort of backpedaling now, right? Because you're saying you don't count half of Garth's 6 Bathurst wins, as in like he's not a Bathurst great. Like obviously the co-driver's got to steer it. He did jack shit. Garth Tander did jack shit. He was picking up positions. He picked up like 3 positions in the first stint. He locked it up, but and then they just got the strategy right and ran at the front. From 18th, yeah, from 18th he went to 14th. It's not like Scott Pye, where the reason that Will Brown has like Scott Pye is making Will Brown look really good. Yeah, if Will Brown won, it'll be like, this is Scott Pye cooking. Yeah. Yeah, and Scott Pye, even in his first stint at the Bend, handed Brownie a car. He's like, yeah, we're in 4th now. Like, that's just like they started 15th. Every you just can't rely on Will Brown to put the thing any higher than 15th at the moment. Tander was going to pass donkeys out the back. Yeah. Beating the car first stint multiple times. Yeah. In the first stint, I know he did that lock up and he was right in the mix with all there was like 5 cars, 5 to 10 cars at a time, all within a second of one another. Just a big train of cars. But he definitely locked up. He was like ahead of Lowndes and he locked up and then he was battling D'Alberto. 2020 credit Tander for that win majorly. Because SVG didn't know how to win until he had Garth on, and Garth's like, yeah, that's what you gotta do. Garth knows how to win Bathurst. That's why he's like not trying too hard early on, but he tried pretty hard this year. But it's just like maybe try not to bin it. SVG can win from the front, yeah. 2022, you forget. Yeah, what happened in 22? That was the wet one, right? It was started off wet. They just sort of ended up at the front there. Came second in 22, Fabian. Yeah, okay, you can't remember if he was a major part of it. So in order for them to be a Bathurst great, they have to make a big difference in the position of the car. At least 4 where you think he was like a major contributor. Right. That's fair enough, yeah. So this is like an all-time thing. That's sort of what you're saying. So Whincup is a Bathurst great. He's not, yeah. Yeah, Whincup's thrown it away too many times for it to be him. Like he he's had what, one Bathurst win where he did it himself, right? The other times it was because he was uh, co-driving with Lowndes or sharing the car with Lowndes. That's the reason. So I think Lowndes, who was in the shootout in 2007? Winker was a big part in '06. Yeah, for sure. Lowndes was definitely a big part, and Wingcup was definitely a big part because Wingcup was actually quite aggressive in '06 as well because he was picking people off during the race because I think they didn't qualify all that well, so I think they had some sort of issue at the early stage, so they were just picking people off. Lowndes qualified the car every year. Yeah, I can't remember when Lowndes' last shootout was though. I think in 2007, because it was 2007. It was around the time they sort of changed, but I think so. They ran Triple Eight like every year. So you'd say it's Lowndes' car, and then I think Wingcup qualified the thing in the shootout in '08. Lowndes might have put it done in the shootout in '07. I think he did. Lowndes qualified the car every year. Not in '08. Hang on. I'm pretty sure 2007 was Lowndes, 2008 was Wingcup. Bathurst top 10 shootout 2007. Yeah. And they ran Triple Eight every year because why wouldn't you? So yeah, Lowndes in '07, but I'm pretty sure '08 was Wingcup. Yeah, so not Lowndes. So they just couldn't trust him. He wasn't going to do a very good job. About '09. Lowndes qualified it in '09. It's a weird one. Yeah. So why'd they get Jamie in '08? Maybe because he was faster. Maybe Wingcup was just faster in '08. Sort of weird. Yeah. I mean, it just makes sense if you put the faster guy in. And then yeah, obviously 2010 different cars. He was cooking Lowndes in the championship badly at that time. Yeah. And by the time '08 happened, Lowndes was definitely not as good. Not as good as he used to be. 2012, we should have got pole. What, Wingcup or Lowndes? Probably Wingcup. Who got pole 2012? Will Davison. Yeah. What did Wingcup make a mistake? I haven't actually seen. I gotta watch the 2012 Bathurst because I sort of didn't care at the time. Rain on his lap. Oh, okay. Damn. So he must have been like last one out, and then just starts to rain. So where did he start from? He still got second. Oh, really? Reports of rain on the initial climb Mount began to come in as Fabian Coulthard took the circuit. Rain continued as the final run. Jamie Wingcup started his flying lap. So wait, Fabian was like second fastest in qualifying or something. Rain continued as the final run. Jamie Wingcup started his flying lap. Reigning champion was unfazed. Passed through the first sector 900ths of a second faster than Will Davison. Closer with Wingcup in front by just 2,000ths of a second. But despite Davison's messy exit coming out of the chase, Wingcup lost time in the final sector, missing out on pole by half a second. 5/10 down qualifies on the front row. Oh, man. What about, where did Dave start? 8th. He ended up 2nd in the race, though. No, that's not half a second. That's 4/10. Why did they say half a second? God, people don't know how to tell the difference. Half a second, my ass. Horrible. 2011 pole was even worse. Horrible shootout. They were so damn slow. Yeah, I think Murph got sort of lucky because of the weather. That's how he got pole. Must have rained for like half the thing. It's not 4/10, sorry. Maybe it's 3/10. 2012. Hang on, no. Half a tenth. Just yeah. Whatever. Where was I? Eastern Creek. Is the second race? Yep. So Bugs 36 to 14th. That's all right. But what happened to Garth? Some sort of issue. Span off. 3rd drop to 33rd. Trash driver error attacks. Radio. 3rd drop to 33rd. Hang on, is that? No, there's no issue. He just came last. Weird one. Makes me want to watch the season again, 2000. It's an interesting season. I don't know what happened at Eastern Creek there, but it was wet, wasn't it? Was it wet? Because Radisic, this is the one where Lowndes agrees it can be 33rd and finish that high up. No. Garth started 3rd and dropped to 33rd. I think he had an issue. In the last race, charge through the field, 32nd at 10th. Some of the stats though are a bit confusing because they're like, oh, he finished 33rd and then he started 32nd. I thought you said Bugs started 33rd and finished 14th. Oh, 36 up to 14th. Yeah. Lap time difference back then. Yeah. Certain teams, certain cars, certain drivers. I mean, back in 2000, like half the field was made up of like privateers as well. Like even here, you got like Mick Donoghue down 15th. Cameron McConville driving for Rod Nash. Don't know what kind of car he was. Probably in like an old HRT car or something. But definitely, if you were like a front running car, I want to see if there was like a clear difference in the racing quality between 02 and 03 because the cars look like they bounce around a lot more in like 98, 99. HRT AIDS tags for Scape Championships and Lowndes. Right. You're saying AIDS a lot. I'm trying to work out like investing AIDS money compared to everyone else. Oh, okay. Yeah. I guess when you say AIDS, you mean bad. Yeah. So they're just not putting in as much money as HRT. Well, yeah, of course not. But that's where you got like DJR and Perkins was still impressive at the time as well. Whereas like a Gibson Motorsport team, they were like putting in no money and they were just had like two two relatively good drivers in Greg Murphy and Stephen Richards. Like Murph will be able to put it up somewhere near the front on occasion because he was pretty good in qualifying, and Richo not so much. But like they were both like reliable steerers who could just put the car in a decent position. That what turned into Kmart. This is what Kmart was. So in 2000, Gibson Motorsport was Kmart Racing, and in 2001, Lowndes switched to Gibson Motorsport to drive the to drive a Ford, and so Murph and Richo were booted out. Richo landed at Glen Seton Racing, and Murph went to Walkinshaw where they started Kmart Racing Team. So the Kmart sponsorship did actually exist in previous years. In 2000, it was actually their first year that Kmart was a proper, a big sponsor. But from 2001 onwards, it was like Kmart Racing Team. I don't know what they called it in 2000. I think they just called it Gibson. I don't know. Which was HSV. Yeah, so Kmart Racing Team obviously went on to become HSV dealer team, Toll HSV, where they won the championships, and disintegrated. Technically, those two licenses were owned by the Kellys, and so they became Kelly Racing Team. Yeah. Where are we? 32nd to 10th, 14th down to 21st. Scaife was triggered. Yeah, he was. Scaife was a bit triggered. He was like, you can't just say stuff like that. But like, I like that Brody is just speaking up and saying stuff. Peter Adderton going off on Facebook. I didn't actually see what he said. What did I see? I think it was mentioned on Apex Hunters. Scott Pye was like, Pete, what the hell are you doing? Go to bed. I was like, that's just funny as. It was like, I don't know what Pete actually said, but I just saw on Apex Hunters that Peter Adderton was just saying a bunch of rubbish. I think the Apex Hunters, yeah, I don't know do you know what he said? Someone told him they were talking shit about him. Some people just don't. Some people just like make a big deal out of people saying stuff. Who starts going off? Yeah, that's just funny as. It's like the fuck you on about? No, we didn't. Yeah. Peter Adderton is just like one of those guys. Like he probably shouldn't be given a mouthpiece because he just sort of. And even when he was like he wants to have a supercars team, and Roland Dane's just like, do it the right way. Don't do it this weird, stupid way that you try to do it. Have a war with supercars and buy a car, but don't buy a license. He's gonna buy supercars itself. Yeah, he was gonna. He was actually in one of those groups. I think like the Paul Morris group. There was like what was it, 2 or 3 groups, and then but he wanted full control. Yeah, and he also he didn't want the teams to have a say, and that's kind of what's caused our issues with parity. And you know that with Peter Adderton, look, I think they were talking about they didn't want to do what Gen 3 was doing, the path it was going down of just getting unnecessarily expensive and relying on imported parts, because that shit was just like annoying. Like, we're in the middle of a pandemic, right? Why are we waiting on shipments? Teams just gonna look out for themselves. Yeah, obviously. Like the GM teams aren't gonna vote for a change to improve the performance of the Fords if they feel like it could mean they could lose positions. So they're obviously not gonna do that. Um, yeah, that's just yeah. Supercars didn't do the right testing. Well, I think they're in the right testing in time. Yeah. Well, like what sort of like the engine testing? Because the thing is, like, what we had before worked, and then as soon as Gen 3 actually started, Scott was talking about it. What in the one this week? Yeah, they did um, but it was inconclusive. Yeah, they actually had like a disclaimer in the middle of this. So you're talking about the barometric pressure testing, unreliable because the engine life wasn't the same. Right. Yeah. Exactly. So it's just sort of weird. Like, obviously, they weren't testing the right things, and what was the test? And I really hate, by the way, when people like Scott Pye and that have got all this extra information that isn't like publicly accessible. That stuff's annoying. Like, it should just be like on Speed Cafe, download it. Anyone can read it, but instead it's like private and only famous people are allowed to see it. That's just like it's irritating to me because then it means that we can't actually have an open conversation about it. That's what Brody's trying to say. That stop treating the fans as idiots. Yeah, yeah. Well, I really like. I might want to watch the Lucky Dogs one again. Let them know what the hell's going on. Yeah. Um. Yeah, it's difficult. I think it isn't like a massive difference parity at the moment. So it's not like so blindingly obvious like it was into 2023 where the Fords would just blow the back tires off, um, and they would all just drop down the order. And then the Chevs, like it's not like the Fords were crashing out. They were just not like the great example is um Cam Waters 2023 put the car on pole, dropped back to 15th. And he didn't do anything different. He didn't have anything bad happen. Yeah. I think you think at Bathurst it's bad, but everywhere else it's okay. Yeah, I think it's really hard to tell, just in general. I like just watching Bathurst and looking at it going because you watch like Matt Payne battling Cooper Murray, and you're like, have the advantage at the bend. You know what's really weird? The one at the bend is 2023. They had a different aero package compared to what they had in 2025, and what they had this year was the stuff they put on after Bathurst 2023, um, which was can't remember all the details. They put the bits on the front so there wasn't too much downforce on the front end. The car's so much faster. I don't think that's true. I think that it was really hard to tell because Feeney and Whincup had a bad race. They started dominating post Bathurst. Yeah, the fours did, but they were on straight tracks, and straight tracks is just impossible to tell with parity. Um, apart from apart from obviously Townsville, I mentioned just before, where they would blow the back tires off, and so once they put that aero adjustment on, they weren't doing that anymore. And then obviously they went to the wind tunnel at the end of 24, at the end of 23, and made all these adjustments. And then we don't have those issues anymore, 24, 25. They're still saying, oh, there's an engine deficit where there's, especially at Bathurst, was at 10 horsepower less. Don't know how they screw it up so bad, so often. I think it's just difficult to tell. And I think the worst thing is I don't. Yeah, I don't know. Um, like you think they go to a track and they would just go and do 90 laps at Queensland Raceway and see what happens. Sleuth article about the VE in '07. Oh yeah. How it was so much faster than the BF. The aero was AIDS. Yeah. And so what, they made a change for 2008? Tander and Scaife just dipped at Barbagallo. As in they were just unbeatable because I think Tander dominated. They weren't meant to be going that fast. Right. They weren't. Oh, they weren't meant to be going flat out so they could hide the advantage. Yeah. In the V8 Sleuth article, right? And that might have come out in like an interview or something with Scafie or with Garth. But yeah, probably because they wanted to hide it before they went to Bathurst and just '07. Who was on pole in '07? Frosty. And Frosty led like most of the race until the wet came out. So kind of hard to say if the VE was actually better by Bathurst. So, but you could see that there would be. It's kind of hard to say because it's like you've got FPR and you've got Triple Eight, and let's say like if it was like an aero thing, they wouldn't necessarily be better at more power centered tracks like Darwin. But Darwin is a great track when it comes to talking about like straight line deficit, because Nissan won a race in 2016, right? Caruso just left them for dead, and was it Rick Kelly put the thing on pole multiple years? The Nissans were just able to be fast at that track. And same thing at Phillip Island, their aero wasn't too bad, but I think it was their low end power that was actually, was it low end or something like that? They weren't actually that competitive at a lot of tracks. SVG was faster that year, but got a penalty in 2016. Okay, yeah, well, I wasn't really watching that year. I watched Sandown, Bathurst, Gold Coast, and then kept up with things like Pukekohe and then Sydney. So, all right. Yeah, I think it's difficult to get 2016 very good year for racing. Yeah. Yeah, I think even like 2015, I was surprised. I looked up articles to try and see if Triple Eight thought the FGX had an unfair advantage, but they didn't seem to think so. And even though Frosty and Mostert were taking all the poles and wins, Triple Eight didn't think it was the car. They just thought the car's fine. We just need to beat them. We just need to do a better job. But maybe that's just Dutto. Dutto just, he doesn't usually cry out like some of the some of the others might. Oh, all right. Anyway, where was I? So 32nd of 10th for Garth. And Bugs 14th down 21st. Alright. And what else? That's Eastern Creek, then Darwin. Garth 6 up to 4th. Where the hell is Bugs? Crashed out. Of course he did. 6 up to 4th. 16th to crash. The lap 1 crash too. God's sakes, Bugs. I've got I think I might have mentioned it when I talked about the data I've got on Mark Scaife. Jason Bright was not that good at HRT. He just wasn't that good. He would occasionally get a win, but he was like consistently mid-pack and not like HRT were locking out the front row. HRT never dominated like Triple Eight did or has done. Mainly because they lost Lounsey. When they had Lounsey, that was a bit more often up the front all the time. Not so much with Jason Bright. And 2007 with Scafey, he didn't actually get a pole, but Todd Kelly did. So I think the 2006 should probably have been Scafey's last year if we were going to have 2020 hindsight. We got 4th up to 2nd for Garth and 32nd to 15th. Second to 15th. Alright. There'll be a third race because it's only 18 laps for Darwin. Jeez. Second to first and 15th to a wheel fell off, I guess. But it's on the second lap. Or lap 1. He's done 1 lap and then a wheel apparently. A wheel happened. It's unfortunate. Sometimes wheels happen. Second up to first. 15 to wheel. I guess. Okay, I assume wheel means a wheel fell off. I assume that's what that means. But I'm still just like, what do you mean a wheel? You know, I'm not even going to put a wheel fell off because if you do that on the first lap, like the only way that something's going to happen is if you like have like a wheel damage on the first lap, which it just means he crashed. Which means Bugs is just crashing too much. That's what's going on. Garth qualifying at the front. Bugs is screwing it up. He's not close enough. And here's Canberra being Canberra. All right. What the hell happened? Oh, yeah. But Garth. First dropped the 25th. Brutal. So we dropped to 25th. Bugs 16th to first. How do you qualify 16th, Bugs? Is Todd getting his first win? No Gary Rogers cars in the top 10. Garth third down to 21st. What? What is going on? What a shocker Garth's having. Whereas like Bugs is not doing too badly. Sometimes Bugs will go to certain tracks and just do really well, like Winton or Queensland. 26 to 13th. Alright. And nowhere again. Not a lucky time for them. Forced to crash. Bugs needs to stop crashing. I think I have like Bugs is one of those drivers who's had like an astronomical number of DNFs in his career. And some of those are crashes apparently. And looks like Garth's got differential failure. Do they just bring their worst car or something? Looks like Garth would have done nothing wrong. 19th to differential failure. But it diffs in the wheel, right? I think I can't remember where they talked about it. They talked about what a differential is. Oh, 2014 Bathurst. I actually finally got around to watching 2014 Bathurst. And they're talking about the differential is so like when you're going around a corner, the inside wheel isn't turning the same amount as the outside wheel. So you don't just like overcook one of the wheels going around a corner. But I don't know if that's like common in a road car or anything like that. So, 12th of the 6th for Garth at QR. Not looking great. Now, where's Bugs? How did Bugs do? 15th of the 12th. It's crazy because, like, Bugs was really good in 98. No, he's still crashing out. What's going on here, Bugs? But he was just, like, putting in these incredible performances at times. And just being shocking other times. But 98, 99 I might be thinking of. I went to like Queensland. No, not Queensland. Alright, what about... I know he won at Winton. Smashed everyone at Winton. So yeah, Garth never got a pole position until he went to Adelaide. It's a bit harder to get a pole when you're at Gary Rogers. Alright. Might have to fill up my water bottle in a second and get some more water. Because I reckon I've had a bit too much tea and just... my body is having a terrible time at the moment. It's fighting and it's just not... it's not going to let me enjoy life. 6 up to 4th. Not like I'm even drinking much or anything like that. It's just drinking tea that causes me an issue. I can't have big cup. I gotta have a little cup. Except I want the freaking big cup because I think it helps me work out fucking illness bullshit. Bugs. 12th up to 7th. Alright. Then what? 4th stayed 4th and Bugs disappears, of course. God damn it. Where did he drop to? 7th down to 19th. 7th dropped to 19th. Um, right, Winton second up to first. Was that a front row lockout? No. That's Cito being amazing. Ben Seaton is one of those guys who's like, he was really, really good. In like for pretty much when he was driving Sierra, he wasn't quite as good driving for his own team. But then once they switched to the V8 era, he was just like one of the best guys in the field, fast, built great cars, and would put the car on pole at Bathurst. I don't know how many times Glenn Seaton did it. Maybe just once in '95. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure if he actually did put it on pole at '95. Might have been Lowndes. No, Lowndes didn't put it on pole. Anyway. Second up to first. Bugs. Ninth up to second. So first and a second. Bugs, 6 up to third. Another thing it's important to know about Gary Rogers Motorsport is that they did start having like a lead driver. I don't know when that started, but it maybe started around this time, around like 99. So like Bugs was the lead driver in 98. Or maybe Stephen Richards was, because Richo was actually doing quite well and he was about even with Bugs. But then Garth, maybe they were setting the car up around Bugs. And then in 99, they were like, no, we'll set the car up around Garth. Or, don't know. But Garth's just way better in 99. And then same in 2000. So, because Lee Holdsworth said that that's what they used to do. They used to set the car up around the lead driver and have a lead driver. I'm going to get some more water. Okay. Hang on a second. That's not right. I reckon in the first race, 9th up to 6th. Must have been. I am just stupid. Why did I do that? 9th up to 6th. Alright. What's going on now? Bugs third to first. Where'd Garth go? Garth might have had an issue. He should have won the race. Second drop to 18th. Might want to have some cordial or something. Might be good for me. Guts haven't quite settled after cramming a pizza. Apparently I can eat pretty quick when I need to. When I want to. Second down to third. Where's our own park? just on the front row all the time. Bags 14th. Jesus Christ. Um, 4th. 19th to 7th for Bugs. I haven't watched the Lucky Dogs Bathurst Q&A thing yet, but I think in my head I assume I know what people are going to be asking. 7th up to 4th. Bugs turned it around at the end of Oran Park. Cool Park. 10th up to 5th. They asked about the SCT car. Okay. And Will acted like he didn't know nothing. I saw someone on Speed Cafe saying like, "Oh, Scott Pye is definitely going to be driving the SCT car." He looks hell guilty, like he knew. Yeah, yeah. Well, people were saying like, "Oh, the Apex Hunters." They were like, "Oh, it looked all awkward." Like Scotty had already signed the deal to drive the SCT car next year, and Barb's was trying to keep the conversation going, and I don't know. I think I wouldn't read too much into it. Scotty said he'd love to, yeah, but I think people play things up and be like, "Oh, it's all he'd love to, and only for AAA." I mean, yeah, that's the only what about Todd Hazelwood? Speed Cafe said it's Jackson Walls. I think Speed Cafe also said it's Rylan Gray. Rylan Gray, Jackson Walls. And because Rylan Gray apparently knocked back the it's not AAA anymore, the super cheap wildcard with Lounsey. And the only reason you would do that is if you were getting something better. Like, because you probably knock back like a back of the grid drive with like BRT to do the wild card with Lowndes. Rylan Gray apparently is going to DJR as a co-driver to replace like D'Alberto, taking Davo's spot. What, for next year? Where you hearing that? Where'd you hear that news? Let's have a look. Not a credible source, but the group chat and Apex Hunters Patreon. Right. Yeah. Guys at info before that's been bang on. Yeah. So I believe in you. We've got auto action here. Well, we got nothing to say here. Dave's been so bad, so it's worth going to a rookie for the same results. Yeah. Yeah. Possibly be better. He's had a bit of bad luck too. It wasn't his fault what happened at Bathurst, where TD's put it in the fence. It's been 9 rounds before that. Yeah. And a lot of the time he's just struggling. Dog shit driving, like as in he hasn't been qualifying as far up or he's been getting in too many crashes. Both. Yeah. Yeah. And I think usually a sign that a driver is actually good is that there can be a significant change. Qualify at the back, you deal with the crazy guys. Yeah. Yeah, well the desperate guys, people who are regularly battling down the back. Usually auto action is yeah. It's not really saying anything. There's too many young guys in the mix. So like it's hard to say if one of them is going to OJ did a premiere. Yeah, well that was on Speed Cafe like months back. Ojeda and Fraser apparently going to premiere. What else? Job Stewart replacing Jack LeBrock. Jack LeBrock going to MSR. Horrible signings. Yeah. To the same team. Yeah. Yeah. Well, like Declan Fraser and Jaden Ojeda are both just like solid co-drivers. Fraser is obviously a Super 2 champion. Ojeda, then wait one more year for a good driver. Well, apparently Stanaway is saying that he's got a contract for next year. And like there was it could be like a Sergio Perez situation where people putting a lot of pressure on and saying, oh, you know, Perez is going to be out and they're going to put this guy in or something like that. And then he just stayed and the next year was worse. Keep staying to drive, which could be enduro or main. Yeah, well, he could do what the Groves do because Groves have got a pretty smart way of doing things. um, they just sign like a stopgap driver before they look for like the youngest talent. They can honour the contract. Yeah, honour the contract, run out the contract. If he doesn't lead the team next year, honour the contract by giving the enduro drive. Okay. I think it's 2 full-time years. I don't think it's a 1 year plus another year. I think it's full-time because, Stanaway could be at a way better team, on an enduro deal. He could just be driving a Triple Eight. He's not a good supercars driver. Um, he's an elite co-driver for sure. I mean, like, Greg Ritter won the Sandown 500. He wasn't that good, but he also didn't drive for great teams either. He did get into the top 15 shootout at Bathurst with Dick Johnson Racing. But he just ended up at Stone Brothers for 2004. And the Sandown 500 that he won was the Wet and Wild one. And then he ended up at FPR, which like just would shoot back 2005 FPR was not a good time to be. It's just hard to tell. Stanaway, also a thing about Stanaway is he's been at a different team each full-time year. And there's a couple of drivers that I was thinking of that have a similar situation. Max Wilson used to switch teams every year. 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005. He was at Team Dynamic. 2006 WPS. Gary Jacobson is actually a more recent example of a guy in Stanaway's situation, except Stanaway's better than Gary Jacobson. I think. You do wonder because Jacobson wasn't too bad at MSR. And he went in 21. He wasn't too bad at Team Sydney either. Whereas Stanaway, he can pick up top tens. Like Queensland Raceway, Stanaway was actually picking up. He picked up multiple top tens. So Stanaway has it in him to get good. And I think I saw an article from Ludo Lacroix saying, "Oh, Richie, he knows exactly what he needs to get results." And I'm like, then why doesn't he get results then? If he's so good, how come they're not able to build a team around him and make it happen? It just doesn't make sense to me. At least with Nick Percat, he can actually drive the thing and then piss everyone off and then be forced to retire. So, but Stanaway was actually quite good at Groves last year. Like Groves gave him a real good shot. They were already looking at Kai Allen, and so like when we got to like what was it, July, they were like, "Yeah, we're not going to extend your contract," and he's like, "Oh, what the fuck?" Because they were already looking at Kai Allen. They were watching Super 2, and they're like, "That's our guy. That's who we want." Hey Kai, how about a 3-year deal? And Richie's like, God damn it. Like that was the plan the whole time. Sign the next big thing. Put a different guy in the car. Like it doesn't matter who. And what's funny is Groves signed or were talking to Lee Holdsworth and then Richie Stanaway before they won Bathurst. And then they won Bathurst and then they did their full-time year. Lethal was like, well, I want to go out on my own terms, and fair enough to him. And Richie was like, this was his time to come back, and he had quite a few good performances. So I think it is possible to see Richie do well. He didn't go on his own terms. Lee Holdsworth didn't go on his own terms. He announced his retirement at Sandown, right? probably because they said they weren't gonna sign him, but he knew, like, the writing was on the wall heading into 22 that if he didn't like, one of them, Reynolds or Holdsworth, well, he got pushed, definitely. Yeah, but he was signed on a one-year deal. You shouldn't have come back in the first place. It's sort of interesting, right? So the last time we saw Lee Holdsworth full time, um, before he went and became a co-driver at Walkinshaw and won Bathurst, he was on provisional pole and in 2020 at Bathurst. It was the fastest car in qualifying, which just means he stuck another set of tires on it and went faster. Um, but and then like qualified the things, put things seventh in the shootout. I think they had issues with the car from that point onwards. But yeah, you sign a 1-year deal. Don't be surprised if they're not going to sign you for the next year as well. And it's always going to be like that. Lee would have enough experience to know that eventually you are no longer the hotshot driver that you once were. Like, Lee used to be a demanded driver. Like, oh, we want to sign Lee Holdsworth. He's really good, and probably spent too long on Team 18. And then people go, like, do they really want him? And then he did 2 years at Tigford, where he should have done a lot better. And once you've done that, your options are, it was like BRT or nothing, quite possibly. And so after Lee was like, yeah, I'm going to retire instead of drive for BRT, then they signed Todd Hazelwood. So I think you usually know, like, relatively early. Todd being smart. Todd shouldn't have driven for BRT. He said, I'm good. Yeah. Yeah. Todd's like, well, yeah, Todd's smart now. He's like, just be the co-driver, just win multiple Bathursts. You're not gonna do it in a Ford, apparently. Although, yeah, I don't. I think they got undercut, and the car wasn't that fast. I'm not sure if the car was actually that good in race trim. I don't think it was the best Ford. I'm looking at it like, I was like watching the race earlier, first and second stint. I was like, okay, the Walkinshaw cars weren't that fast. The BRT cars were competitive, but they were down the back. And Matt Payne and Garth Tander's car was fast, but they were just down the back, and so they were battling against fast Chevs as well. They didn't have. I don't really know if there were like there were different parts of the race where you would say, oh, this Ford's faster than the other ones. A lot of the Fords just didn't qualify well to begin with. How Best and Cameron finished that race. Yeah, well, they smacked the wall at the exit of Griffins. That was surprising. They were relatively competitive to begin with. They just because they qualified down the back, and they actually had a pretty good race car. And obviously the Snowy Rivers car was sticky taped back together, and they just drove it like that until some other issue happened. But yeah, Zach Best was very impressive in that car. So where are we? Calder Park Race 1. Where is Bargs? 17th to 13th. Such a what could have been driver. Todd Hazelwood or Zach Best? Zach Best could have been champion. Plenty of drivers come and gone that didn't deserve it over him. Come and gone that didn't deserve it. As in, other drivers have had a chance, but not Zach Best. People like the main game keeps on saying, "Oh, we don't really know if we want Zach Best." BRT's like, we'll give him a chance. And he's come in, he's done a great job. Yeah, I think Zach Best is actually pretty solid. He's had a few Bathursts where things just haven't worked out for various reasons. 2022, he was in the wrong spot at the wrong time, went in the fence on lap one, and that would have ruined their race. Was it 21? 21. Who did he drive with in 21? Jack LeBrock. He drove with Jack LeBrock in 21. I think they were kind of solid, but Jack LeBrock was really struggling with that car all year long. In 2020, did he drive in 2020? At Tickford? Because it was Courtney and Feeney in one car, Waters and Davison in the other car. Holdsworth and Caruso in the other car. Yeah, LeBrock and Zach Best in 2021. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Because in 21, Randall was with Courtney. And Moffat was with Waters. Didn't even know that. Yeah, I'm just going off memory. Was that because I know Zach Best was in the frame? They were talking about putting him in 2020, and I'm trying to remember if he did it at all. Because I know Moff was with LeBrock, Feeney was with Courtney, Davison was with Waters, and Holdsworth with Caruso. So Zach Best didn't do Bathurst in 2020. Did he do? Who was in the? I think it was Ojeda and Everingham in the Gary Rogers wildcard. So yeah, Zach Best. His first Bathurst must have been 21, and he did a respectable job. He didn't impress. He didn't disappoint. You know, you put him in your car if you wanted it to come back in the same spot that you put it in before. 22 disappointment, and 23 with Randall. Hang on, no, 23. No, 23. Hang on. Jacobson was Randall in 23. Where was Zach Best? Everingham was with Fraser. I reckon Zach Best didn't do 23. Hang on, did he? God damn, who did he? It was Randall and Jacobson. Courtney and Best. It was Courtney and Best in 23, and they got a top 10 at Bathurst. So, there we go. 24 he didn't do. 25 he's back. BRT, impressive. Yeah, I think you're right. I think Zach Best deserves a chance. He's just not bringing enough cash to get a seat. I think it's just genuinely he's not bringing in enough money. Because sometimes you could see in Super 2 the budget was running a bit dry. It just said Best on the side of the car. It didn't say like Best Leisure Homes or whatever the hell the company was. He's not good enough for the top tier teams. Yeah, well, now he's started to go at BRT. I wouldn't be surprised if a team a bit better than BRT might sign him for the Enduros next year. He's not good enough for the top tier teams full time. Yeah, so obviously he's got to bring a bag of cash to BRT or MSR, because Premier are pretty set on they want to sign who they want to sign. They don't really care if you bring a lot of money, because Peter Chibris has got money. And the same thing at Erebus Motorsport. They're going to sign you based on talent. They're not going to sign you based on how much money you bring, which is great. Like, you want having people getting seats in teams based on merit is great, and that's why you love Erebus, because they got Cooper Murray, and they're going to put Job Stewart in next to him. Job Stewart's, we're going to see if he's worth the chance, and he's been impressive. Premier Peter Chibris likes to give people chances. That's why he's signing Ojeda and Fraser, because he thinks that Fraser deserves a second chance and Ojeda deserves a first chance, because he's done a great job as a co-driver over the years, and he's keen to be a full-time driver. So, yeah. Zach Best, he just needs to keep getting signed for the Enduros, and then he'll be in the conversation, because he was in the conversation to get a seat at Tickford, and then Declan Fraser came in. Yeah, it can be a bit difficult. D'Alberto has to be done, yeah. I thought so. When D'Alberto put it in the fence, I thought, you've been here that many times. What do you, they don't change where the wall is. Like, I'm sorry, but yeah. I reckon that might be it, because they signed him. They're like, oh, he's been in the team 10 years, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, and he has been quite impressive at times. And yeah, that was just like how did you screw that up? Like, yeah. Unforgivable mistake. Yeah, just like Alex Davison 2024? Where he just banging into Gary Jacobson at Sandown. And both of them weren't back weren't back in 24? So yeah, you can't have drivers just making stupid mistakes. He's been washed for years, thirsty. Oh, honestly. D'Alberto. So getting a drive because yeah, Alex Davison definitely. Alex Davison was definitely, he was good at Stone Brothers, but he wasn't consistently good. Alex Davison was just one of those guys that was just like, he sort of tried too hard. He's a bit arrogant as well. He just comes across like super blunt. I remember when he showed up at Team Sydney. I think like 2017 he was done. After that, he was asked every other year. He dropped Team Sydney 2020. Was it Chris Pither was the one who would actually pick up spots in the races, and Alex was the one who would out qualify Chris. And they just he wasn't good before that anyway. 2017, but he was driving for LDM. So all you have to do is not crash the thing, and then Lucas will be happy, and that's kind of it. Cameron McConville got the best result for that team that year, which was, it wasn't 17th. No, the best result for the team that year was like 15th or something like that, because 2017 Bathurst was just chaotic. And they came like 15th. I think it was Alex Rillo and was it Alex Rillo and Alex Davison? Something like that. Yeah. But Alex Davison was one of those guys who there were moments, little flashes in the pan where you go, oh, this guy's actually got it in him to be really impressive. But he could not carry on those performances. Pekka isn't even an elite driver, and he could drag that hunker junk forward. Perk out at LDM. but not 2017 LDM was worse than 2016 LDM. Like 2017, that car was just not something that anybody could do much with. Alex Willow made some videos, I think, 2017, and it was basically him versus Matt Brabham. 2013 LDM was beyond ass. Like, they were a permanent back market team. They were capable of pulling top 10s out of their asses. 2014, obviously, the car was fresher and they had a better driver in Russell Engel. Embarrassing team, low budget team. Don't knock them. They were the minnow. They had like no money, and they did have times where there was money being tipped in, but wasn't they didn't have the ability to sign key people apart from when they got Russell Engel in that one year. You can have no money and good processes. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so that they had no money and they didn't know what they were doing. Now, yeah, they still managed to put enough fuel in the car to win the Adelaide 500. So, who was the engineer? Chris Ducky. Chris Ducky was the engineer. 2016. So that's why they were able to pull some phenomenal results out. Was it 3 top 10s? Perker had 3 top 10s in 2016. The win at the Adelaide 500. And the top 10 at Sandown, and then a podium at Bathurst. And that was Chris Stuckey. And he became Bathurst podium. Yeah, I said that. What else? Yeah, so Chris Stuckey got signed to Team 18. Actually, I got a PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to stop sharing for a hot second. And I'm going to show you my PowerPoint presentation on Chris Stuckey, who is currently engineering Thomas Randall. Rest in peace. Chris Stuckey, engineer. Yeah, you'll see. This guy, he's just why rest in peace? Because it's Thomas Randall, that's why I'm like, rest in peace. It was like, you could have been with a good driver. Okay. I'm gonna. Oops. Hang on. All right. So now I'm gonna show PowerPoint presentation. Okay. So this is the career of Chris Stuckey, engineer. 2008, data engineer with Rod Nash Racing, Tony D'Alberto. Jason Barguana, endurance driver. This is Rod Nash Racing, bottleload car. Results were few and far between. A top 10 was like the best they could get every year. They managed to just pull something out of their ass. He was data engineer there, and then he became a main engineer with Carl Reindler. Go back. I don't know what he looks like. Oh, yeah. This is him. This is our man. He's an older bloke. He probably looked quite a bit younger in 2008. So, just imagine him 17 years younger. Never seen him before. Yeah, no, that's fair enough. It's like I think a lot of engineers, like I've got another one on Adam DeBore, and like Adam DeBore was with guys like Greg Murphy. Was he with Greg Murphy? I don't think he actually engineered. No, hang on. He engineered Greg Murphy in 2010, Adam DeBore, but he was also he also engineered Jason Bargwanna at Tasman in 2009 when Bargs put it on pole at Gold Coast. Um, so I think when I saw the name Chris Ducky being thrown around, I was just like, hang on, he's been this place, and I just wanted to know the details. So yeah, so did a few years at Rod Nash. 2010, obviously, Rod Nash Racing went to FPR, but Chris was going to be getting the step up at Brad Jones Racing with Carl Reindler. Got a top 10 at Gold Coast there. Probably a bit of a crash fest anyway. So, having a new engineer in Chris Ducky might have been part of why the results weren't really happening with Carl Reindler. But often I'll give the rookie the not so good engineer. I think Declan Fraser actually had Chris Ducky in 2023 until they had decided they were going to be shrinking the team. So they put Chris Ducky on Thomas Randall's car because they were going to be keeping Chris Ducky. Anyway, that's moving ahead. Better year with Carl Reindler in 2011. And then Dave Wall. So he did a few years at Brad Jones Racing there. He actually did a few times where he was with, De Boer was with D'Alberto in 2011. Was he? Article says he signed with D'Alberto team. Yeah, hang on. I'll look at my Adam De Boer one. Yeah. 2011, 2012, Tony D'Alberto Racing. 2009 with Tasman, 2010 with Paul Morris. And then from 2013 onwards with FPR, did the 1 year at DJR Team Penske 2016. And just was with Chaz all those years. And then he was with AIM Motorsport in 2024, Super 2. And then they had a bunch of crashes and withdrew from the championship. He was Holdsworth. What? He was Holdsworth. Gary Rogers in 2006. Okay. Yeah, I guess I've only got as far as early as 2009. Dean Canto said that he had Dean Canto said he had a part-time engineer, and he wasn't very good. Right, yeah. So 2012 with Brad Jones Racing, David Wall. And 2013 with Erebus Motorsport and Maro Engel. Be an interesting time. And then he didn't like that, but also they were shrinking to 2 cars at Erebus, and I guess they just were pretty set with what they were doing. 2014, I guess DJR wanted the cheapest engineer they could get, so they got Chris Ducky. And so he was with David Wolf at Winton. Must have been getting paid out the ass. He must have been getting paid like bugger all at Erebus. I don't think people got paid like a lot of money at Erebus, but I think there must have been like some sort of industry standard for, and it probably still is, for like how much people are worth. With certain experience, if you got several years as an engineer, they'll go, well, this guy actually knows what he's doing because he's done it for a few years. So he's going to walk in and he's going to have expectations on what's going to happen. Engel got a top 10. Yeah. This is the crash, like absolute total mess at Darwin. I don't know if you've seen that crash, but it's just like 10 cars in the fence at Darwin 2013. And Engel just got lucky, sailed through 9th. I think Tim Slade came 6th or something like that. But yeah, it was just like Fiore on his side. Yeah. There was like absolute. It was like there was an explosion. So yeah. 2014 with DJR, 5th at Winton for David Wall, not too bad. Then goes to 2015 with LDM, probably because DJR shrank to one car for 2015. Took Wincup's number and engineer. Oh, yeah, Fiore, yeah, 88, yeah, and his engineer, Dave Couchy, yeah. Except Couchy was Couchy a data engineer? I think he was, because what I've got him down, I think he did a bit of data engineering. But yeah, but they loaned him out to LDM to give him a bit of experience. Yeah, year of learning as the main engineer. Got him back for 2014, won the championship. 2015 struggled. They actually took Couchy off the car and put Dutto back on because they needed to get the car back in the window. And then Couchy was back on, and then he was fine. So Couchy actually needed to get some more experience to be able to deal with when the car isn't quite right. So yeah, Chris Ducky, who would have heard it? Oh yeah, brutal, absolutely brutal. Like imagine that they're like, yeah, you're not good enough, so you're gonna have to just like sit out the back while the big boys fix the problems. Yeah, that's why Wingcup fell off. Inexperienced engineer. I think what else was going on? Well, it was just a bit weird because 2014 Couchy was with Wing Cup. I think it's probably just like the FGXs maybe, but I don't know if Triple Eight was still like the top Fords. Lowndes was doing good. Lowndes wasn't setting the world on fire. Lowndes was constantly in the top 10. So, and he had Jeremy Moore, so he was fine. Whereas Winkup had Couchy. So when they were just not quite getting the cars right, almost won the championship. What do you mean? He 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 almost won the championship. It was Frosty's to lose. Like Frosty just had to get some top tens and then he won the championship. Lowndes needed to do a lot better to win the championship. He wasn't close enough. Like he went into the last round technically within 300 points of Frosty. Frosty puts the thing on pole. Lowndes crashes. Got shafted in New Zealand. Yeah, but you also just had to perform as well. And Lowndes, I'm pretty sure Lowndes crashed at Sydney Olympic Park, 2015, which is just like what a way to start. Like you're not going to win the championship by crashing the car in practice. 2014. 2014. Let's go. Is it right? We smack the wall and broke his ribs. What, Lowndes? Lowndes, 2015, Sydney, crash. Yep. Turn 5. Severe crash during the event. Happened on Saturday. Was caused by a collision with another car that sent the car into the fence. Ambrose crashed first. Right. So he didn't actually screw it up then. Heavy crash in the weekend's first qualifying session. Right. Big hit too. Yeah, I wonder if we can see it on YouTube. Um, Sydney crash. Hang on. Sydney. Lowndes was flying in the back end of 2015. I'm not so sure. He did crash. Yeah, he crashed at Pookie. We got that. No footage of him crashing. Tire blowout. Yeah. It's not like he just drove into the wall, obviously, but yeah, he had that crash. Lowndes, Sydney 2014. Okay. What? First vid, okay. Lowndes, Sydney 2014. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna show that. Whoa. That's what you're saying. He broke his ribs. All right. That is a nasty hit. Like Sydney was kind of one of those tracks. It was just like unforgiving. All four wheels off the deck, yeah. Erebus are happy. Probably because I think Davo was at the top. Yeah, big hit. So, yeah, he's Lowndes. He was definitely on song to beat Frosty there. 2015. I think something happened in qualifying there, but like it doesn't look like it was that close. What was it that happened? Frosty won after the first race at Sydney. Yeah, because of that 15th place for Lowndes. Yeah, but like if it was gonna be, if all it was gonna take was top 5 for Frosty and then Lowndes not being close enough, it was definitely in Frosty's favour. Probably because that DNF there at Bookie, that probably hurt him quite a bit. Bookie DND. Or DNF, you mean? Is that what because I know at one point Lowndes was leading the championship. Probably around here after Tassie, maybe. I don't know how I said SMD. Yeah, I don't know. You've fallen asleep on your keyboard or something. Something happened at Sandown there. Didn't help Lowndes there. Sydney Motorsport Park doesn't look all that good, but it's solid. There's plenty of top 15s. That 18th place at Darwin doesn't help his cause. 18th place at Darwin and the DNF at Pookie. Bathurst only started cooking. Yeah. Yeah. He definitely wakes up after Bathurst. And the car was crooked for the last race at Pukekohe. Then they had to use the spare. Still came second in the last race at Pookie. Spare car. What? Spare car for Reynolds won. Yeah. Well, Reynolds won the race where Lowndes crashed out. Don't know if he won the round. No, hang on. Whincup won the round at Pookie, Jason Ridge Trophy. Yeah. Because Whincup was just smashing everyone in the back end of the year, but he was always well out of the championship. Won on Sunday, yeah. So we got Whincup, Lowndes, and Scott Pye on the podium in that last race at Pookie. What else we got? Is that 33? That's McLaughlin, Reynolds, Whincup, McLaughlin. So Whincup, SVG, Reynolds. Frosty did a Braun GP. He did. He was like smashing everyone, and then after Bathurst, just not quite. He's just scraping by. Those results for a championship year is embarrassing. He had some bad races. Adelaide 500 is just like watching that one and you're like, how come he just wasn't anywhere? And then it took him a while to get the FGX worked out. Because Triple Eight was still smashing everyone. On pole. I don't know who's on pole in that one. James Courtney on pole in the last race at Adelaide. And then Lowndes, 3 poles in a row. Pretty impressive for him. And then number 6, that's Mostert. So Mostert starts out qualifying everyone, and occasionally Frosty will get a pole. Triple A OP at Tassie. Yeah, well, Lowndes is good at certain tracks, right? I'm not sure if Tassie is one of them, but Barbagallo he's usually he shows up for, and Queensland Raceway. But where was Whincup? He was 7th, 2nd, and 1st. Yeah, Lowndes is OP, yeah. Was OP at that particular time. Obviously won his last solo race 2018 as well, 2021, 2012 he should have. Radio. In 2010, I think he only won 2 races in 2010. 2012, I think Davo took him out. Oh, yeah. In 2012. Interesting. What have we got on? 2015, he took Reynolds out. Davo took Reynolds out. He should have swept the week. Oh, he took Reynolds out, got a penalty. Radio. Yeah, looks like Reynolds was 6th, 4th, and 11th. Yeah, Lowndes took out Reynolds. Yeah. So Reynolds must have been qualifying, like, he must have qualified further up or something for Lowndes to... Well, it says Lowndes on pole. So Lowndes must have done something at some stage. Here's a weird one. What race is it? We can probably watch the replay. 1, 3, 5, 6. So, Lowndes. Hang on. For Tasmania Supercars 2015 race 6. Well, that's a full race. Don't want to watch the full race, just the highlights, please. This'll do. This another race? Oh, this is like a weird thing. What the hell is this? It needs to be race 6. This is like the full thing. The first race Ambrose stood down. Yeah. Just need to see the first lap anyway. Okay, we'll just watch the first lap then. One of the greats of the sport, Craig Lowndes, Triple Eight. Can he score his 100th championship race win today? It would be a huge feat. What do you reckon at home? Yeah. Yeah. David Reynolds do today. Talked about it at the pre-season test at Sydney Motorsport Park. He's under the microscope. He's under pressure for that drive. Teammate, 90 race wins for Jamie Whitcomb in his career so far. 10% of those have come at this weekend. He loves it. What do you do? Run him off? Lock up and tag him? Yep. Oh. And then I guess got a freaking drive through for it. He couldn't. He lost the start. Yeah, exactly. Couldn't handle it. Put his nose where it didn't belong. Yeah, obviously Reynolds had him, and Reynolds was going to take the apex. Reynolds done a textbook not Reynolds. Lowndes has done a textbook apex denial. And just got fucking tagged him. Gone, nah, you're not making that apex. Bonk. Off he goes. Brutal. Alright, now let's get back to what I was doing. I might wrap it up soon. Because I think I just need to sit around drinking more water. I'm going to watch a movie. I don't know what movie I'm going to watch. Just like a free YouTube movie. Right. So, where are we? Calder Park. Bugs. 17th to 13th. Come on, Bugs. F1 sprint highlights. Yeah, I did. I freaking saw. Was it Oscar screwed? No, because it was like Alonso into Hulkenberg into Oscar, right? And Lando. Don't know how many of them actually hit one another, but I saw that and I was like, can't switch back on that corner. Oh, Oscar, yeah, because Oscar's tried to switch back on Lando, and he's ended up crashing into him. Yeah. Oh, McLaren are imploding. It's fun to watch. What was it? I think it was Singapore. He was just so shitty as well. You're gonna take yourself out in the first lap. Yeah. Singapore lap 1. Lando tried to he almost banged into Verstappen, and then he hit Piastri. If there was anyone else in third, I'm okay. Max though, yeah, Max. Didn't Max do the same thing? Oh, hang on. I'm thinking of Charles last year, right? Didn't Charles win the United States Grand Prix? I think Max won the sprint race from pole. Is that right? Might be thinking of something else. Yeah. Anyway, Oscar sooking about Lando banging into it. Like Lando, he didn't want to hit Max, and then he hit Oscar, and then Oscar's just an absolute sook. For, you think he's sooking? All right, maybe to me, just I don't watch every race. I don't pay too much attention to it. I've seen clips of like a lot of all the different things that have gone on this year. You don't think the contact itself is the issue, right? It was the team's response, right? What the team said to him, and he's like, "Well, that's just not fair." It definitely feels like they're focusing too much on the politics. Oscar's ahead in the points. They're just trying to set precedent prior, which is pissing him off. Right. Where they're not allowed to put a move on one another. Is that what it is? First one into the corner, you're not allowed to put a move on. But Lando's trying to win the championship, which is probably something that Oscar doesn't seem to understand. Lando's still trying to play himself into the championship, so he's gonna put desperate dive bombs on. Anytime it's for Pyre rules, he's on the receiving end of the shit call. Yeah. But I think it's happened to Lando as well. I saw a video. I don't remember what the video was. Any other world champion is not swapping back. Yeah. And that's sort of what happens, right? It's like Senna and Prost, right? Where Piastri is like Senna. Saying, SMD, I'm out of here. That's your fault. Yeah. So when's Piastri going to Red Bull? uh, or Ferrari. But why would you go to Ferrari? Why would you go to Red Bull? It's just like, yeah, you got to sort the issues out. Because the way I play, Piastri needs to say, screw this, I'm locking in free for all. And just start ignoring him and start being like, fuck all the papaya rule bullshit. Yeah. Papaya rules only works when you've got one driver constantly like a couple spots up ahead. I have this in my F1 manager game where I'm like, I don't really want two guys battling for the championship. I want a fast guy and I want a guy that's going to be fast in 5 years. It's going to be their only chance to win a championship, and we're trying to play fair rules. Yeah. What's the point score? Standings. Fuck fair. Whoever is fastest is fastest. Yeah, it's exactly right. So he's what, 22 points up? Piastri's 22 points up on Lando. So basically, if Piastri has a DNF, he loses the lead to Lando. All right, so I can understand it can be a bit stressful. Piastri starts 6th for US, Lando 2nd. Yeah, and all Oscar has to do is just finish, right? So let's say Lando comes 2nd, right, and he gets the 18 points. Then he gets 6. 6 gets how many points? 10? 10 points? So hang on. What we got 15, 12, 10, 8 points. Ooh, 8 points isn't great. So Oscar needs to finish directly behind Lando. How many races have we got left? Can't afford to have any cars in between. Yep. 8. Yeah, so what I wouldn't do is do anything desperate. Don't stress, all right? Stress later, don't stress now. Because if you stress, you're going to do something stupid and cost yourself even more, right? Oscar will drive forward, right? He qualified 6th, but that's qualifying, right? That's 1 lap. You got a whole however many kilometers of racing to do. It's just not going to be Maybe there's 6 races left. Yeah, well, we got Mexico, Brazil, Vegas. That's 3. Abu Dhabi. Okay, yeah, it's 5 races left. Oh, including US, yeah, because obviously US hasn't happened yet. So yeah, there's 6 races left. Yeah. So yeah, Oscar will get past Hamilton straight away. Oscar, he has to beat Lando. He doesn't have to beat Lando, or in at least one of them, in at least one of the 6 races. But he also, you'd want to be a bit closer. So depends how fast, because I don't think the Ferrari was that fast in the sprint, right? So I think Oscar will pick him off and probably come 3rd or 4th, right? Max seems to have quite a lot of speed, but I think we had that last year, right? Multiple safety cars in the sprint, right? Okay, Ferrari 4th and 5th. Okay. Hmm. Yeah. What I say is, don't stress. Don't do anything stupid, because that is the easiest way to lose the championship. Sainz beat them somehow. Yeah, I saw that. Carlos was 3rd. Hang on. Who was 2nd? Hang on. It was Max, and then it was someone else, and then Sainz. Just like, how did that happen? George 2nd, and then Carlos. Yeah, I saw somebody said, they were like, oh, it's just like they were like all these top tier drivers, and I'm like, is Carlos top tier? Like, if it was like Charles, it was like Max, George, and Charles, then you'd be like, yeah, this is like top tier. Or Carlos Glazman. Yeah, oh, people love Carlos. And you look at the results and you go, it's just not. He's just not that. He wasn't that close to Leclerc. Like, Leclerc can do an incredible lap. Like, he'll just put it on pole. That's just what he does. Or put it on the front row, or 3rd on a bad day. Charles is just good like that. He's really good, really fast. Carlos would occasionally be good. He's consistent. Well, he was consistent at Ferrari. Not so much Williams, but it's different team, different environment. Leclerc gives him Mostert vibes. Yeah, Leclerc is a bit like a Mostert. He's won big races, and when he's had like chances to win championships, it just hasn't worked out. Fast as fuck, but he'll never do it. Mostert, I think. Didn't we say maybe Mostert is over the hill at this point? Which is kind of crazy to say. He's what, 30, 31, 32. Ryan Wood, if he gets really good, Mostert's gone. Yeah, missed his chance. This is last year faster than Wood. In race trim, yeah. Once Woody works out how to race, then yeah, it'll be over for Mostert, which is what you want in a race team. You want that second driver to get good. Yeah. All right. Let's go back to what I was doing. All right. Do you want to see an SCT car? Realistically, I can't get past Scott Pye. I like the idea of it. Like, SCT with their move of going to Triple Eight, they're like, we want to win races and get him podiums and stuff like that. Scott Pye has. You want to see him in that car? Yeah, like Scott Pye has such potential. He's put like big performances together, and the only thing that's let him down over the years is the team he was with. Like at Team 18, he could have been on the podium in Adelaide or even won at Adelaide, and the car died on him. He has done some stupid things in races where he took himself out at Townsville, but that's because so often it was just like not going to happen. And so he just had to try and capitalize and put something big together. Horrible strategy. He's fighting out the back. Yeah. That's who you'd sign. You probably sign Scott Pye or even Todd Hazelwood if you wanted consistent results, because Hazelwood had MSR 2022. Start of the year, he's top 10 of the championship. Scott Pye's used to the argy bargy. Never Hazelwood. No. I think Hazelwood will be in the fence more often than not. And yeah, Scott Pye spent many, many years in the mid pack. You could say Hazelwood had done as well. You know, Hazelwood full time, it would have been DJR. Yeah, but you wouldn't want to be full time at DJR. You wouldn't want to be. It's just too. He's genuinely not interested. Yeah, for sure. I mean, he won Tail and Bend. He was on pole at Bathurst. People know his name now. Why would you go back full time and then they'll be like, oh, there's Brody Kostecki leading the Bathurst 1000. Where's his teammate? Oh, he's fifth. Like, no one would care. He can do extracurricular driving. Exactly. He can win Trans Am championships. So, yeah, I do like the idea of Scott buying the SCT car. And SCT are talking about they want to win championships, win Bathurst, stuff like that. You've got to get a really strong, really solid driver. They're gonna sign someone stupid. I don't know about Rylan Gray. Rylan Gray actually has not been bad at all. It's honestly how it works. They're gonna sign someone stupid. I don't think SCT are like. I mean, they signed Jackson Evans. Jackson Evans. The problem with Jackson Evans at BJR is that they were dumb enough to give Jack Smith the endurance drive. Yeah. It's like, if you want to win Bathurst, put someone good in everywhere. But yeah, I think they just didn't have much pace. They didn't have much pace at the Bend, and they didn't have much pace at Bathurst. Maybe it is the co-driver, maybe, but also like because Jack Smith would qualify quite well. Not Jack Smith, freaking Jackson Evans, who would be a good enduro driver. I want to say Will Davison, but Percat, I forgot. Oh yeah, yeah, we could put Percat in. Yeah, Percat as a co-driver. Tim Slade, pinch Tim Slade from MSR. Yeah, I don't know. Percat was very consistent at BJR. Triple Eight wouldn't. They wouldn't. What? They wouldn't take Slade. Slade isn't a Triple Eight type driver. Yeah, but neither is Will Brown. Will Brown is not a Triple Eight type driver. He spent like years at Erebus. He was with Eggleston. Will Brown is not the kind of guy you'd be like, yeah, he's the professional superstar. Brock Feeney is a Triple Eight type driver. It shook me that they took Brown. Yeah, I was like, why don't you? But he's a Lowndes, so it makes sense. Yeah, Will Brown has got that natural talent, but and he's obviously very personable as well. Like he's a laugh and a half. Not that they took Brown, but that they took Brown over Kostecki. Oh yeah, for sure. Like why would 2022 was what sold me on Kostecki, because I was like, all right, if Kostecki's beating Brown, they're both got the same cars. How come Brown's down 15th and Kostecki's up in 8th? Like, yeah, Kostecki had to have rejected the deal. Yeah, I think Brody definitely wanted to stay at Erebus. He really did. And things just sort of fell apart, and he was like, oh, this is just not working. And then did the rest of the year and left for DJR. But yeah, sort of weird. Like you think, yeah, I think maybe Brody. But Triple Eight also signed SVG, and SVG, like, I think Burkett surely signs for Triple Eight. Yeah, for as a co-driver for the SCT car, because I don't think Windcup's moving, and I don't think Scott Pye's moving, unless they put Pye in full time in that car. Then Percat goes and co-drives with Will Brown. So I think Jackson Evans could be back as a co-driver. But maybe not at any good driver that retires goes running for that Triple Eight co-drive for sure. For sure. Well, they grabbed Garth Tander in 2019, but that's because he's Garth Tander. Like, if you want to have a good time, sign Garth Tander. It says that on the back of toilet doors. It's like for a good time, call Garth. And then what? After they got rid of Garth, after they lost Garth, they signed Richie. Richie did a great job. SVG was always a Triple A driver too as soon as he went to Techno. SVG was also a Stone Brothers driver for a very long time. It's definitely replacing Lowndes. Well, he didn't really replace Lowndes. Well, he kind of replaced Lowndes in the Red Bull car. And Lowndes went to be with the Caltex car and the Autobahn car. Lowndes had the choice. Had the choice of what? Then went to 3 just for him. But what the choice of retiring or not to keep going with Triple Eight? They're like, yeah, what do you? They're like, we're gonna sign SVG. We could expand to 2 cars, and we think we can do it. Dane said it's up to you. Yeah. When the results slowed down, then yeah. But I think Lowndes was also like a Kimi Räikkönen type guy, where the team's like, it's not about we'll either tap you on the shoulder or you'll know. Yeah, and I think even when Lowndes in his last year, people were like, oh, he could have won the championship in 2018. It's like, no, he couldn't. No, he couldn't. He was nowhere near close enough. Yeah, he wasn't nowhere near. He wasn't. Hang on. We're gonna okay, actual stats. We're gonna go through the actual stats. Right? Um, he wasn't beating Wink Up and SVG. That's for sure. But he wasn't like 2016. Oops. Phillip Island Wink Up was cooked. Wink Up was cooked. His championship was over. Not sure. Am I showing the right one? No, hang on. Wrong thing. Championship was GG's, because what do you mean 18th to 1st? Okay, yeah. There we go, the XO one. Okay. So, you're talking 2018. SVG almost stole that MF though from Barber Gallo. 18th to 1st was Perth. Was McLaughlin. BSV Landy did a pretty decent job. They're 25th up to 3rd. Beat Wink up there. Yeah, it's not impossible to bounce back from 14th and a transaxle failure. And what? Tassie was the wheel? Did the wheel fall off? Something happened at Tassie in 2018 for SVG. But yeah, almost stole it at the end there and got that penalty. For in the first race. Power steering. Okay. Power steering at Tassie. Had to use the bus wheel. Oh no, that was Townsville. And that was 2020. I think. Yeah, it's 2020. Yeah. 2018 too. What a Tassie. Oh no, Tassie was the gear stick. Tassie Tassie was the gear stick 2018. It was 2018, wasn't it? Yeah. I think it was stuck in like second gear or something. I think Anton had it as well. But yeah, I think it was like stuck in gear and he just went around and got some points. Yeah. 2020 was the bus wheel, I'm pretty sure. Where he just had like DNFs and things going wrong, and then he started smashing everyone after that. Yeah. Yeah. Leon's just like to qualify in the top 10 is what's required to win championships. And Leon's wasn't doing that anymore. It takes him what? On 5th attempt, he qualifies in the top 10. Right? In that time, his teammates have qualified in the top 10. Not even top 10, top 5 constantly. 2 times SVG, not so much. He was all the way at the back too often. Oh, yeah. Adelaide 500. Like, they got, Triple Eight got the new ZB Commodore. Adelaide 500 qualifying, Lowndes 15th. And I'm like, that's not good enough. His racecraft is still there. Oh, yeah, for sure. Drag the thing into the top 10. That's Davo's problem. Yeah. Davo's not dragging into the right spot. Hang on. Yeah, we'll just have a quick look at Davo. Uh, got so many damn PowerPoint presentations, and we're all over the shop tonight. It's just trying to find all the different things. 2025 ups and downs. Um, Gets bullied too easily. Yeah, I don't know how to say. I'd have to look at it more. I think that I don't think he's getting bullied. I think the car's got no pace, and he just doesn't want to crash out. So 25 ups and here we go. Will Davison. This is from in general, not just this year. Okay, right. But it's still good to have another look. Because I remember Townsville, he's qualifying in the shootout like all the time. And what was it? You're only as good as your last race, but yeah, definitely quite a few too many weekends. Davo's just been missing, especially just SVG. Just take the fucking piss with him, with Davo, and just like what fly past him or something. That Davo would just qualify not well and then just be unable to make up the positions. Wear that rear bumper out like an MF. Yeah. But that was just what SVG like to do. He just like to give everyone like a little hurry up. Fuck. But I think everyone was like that. So yeah. Anyway, I think I gotta wrap it up tonight. I gotta wind down, go to bed. Hopefully, feel good enough to go to work tomorrow. So yeah, thanks for dropping in, dude. And I'll catch you next time, hopefully. Oh, it's just like the coughing is getting more and more. I just need to go get more water and just sit and watch some shit and drink water. It's just a dry cough. It's been 2 weeks. Yeah, leading into Bathurst, like the Thursday of Bathurst. What kind of sickness is this? It's me. It's my body can't handle it. I changed my diet with some of the things I usually take. Go get some medical help. I've had plenty of medical help, and they don't help me very much. So, yeah, just sometimes stuff's going around, and my immune system. Yeah, thanks, dude. Hopefully, good enough tomorrow, and then yeah, yeah. Thanks for coming, dude, and we'll catch you next time. We should see some news of it. Yeah, absolutely. Like we did post Bathurst on the Monday morning. Yeah, always good to talk about stuff. And thanks for the footage as well from when you were actually there. That's cool. Um, Actually seeing what it looks like from the ground is so much better. Shit texture though sometimes it disappear. Yeah, it's all right. There's plenty of people who do that. It's fine. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Catch you next time. Thanks, dude. See ya.